Hey guys, Movie Junkie here, and I'm gonna be doing something a little different here because I don't normally do this, but I feel like I have to talk about the mess that is Netflix Death Note. I'm I'm not the like a hardcore anime fan, but I do love anime, and Death Note is one of those animes that I think every anime fan has seen. It's such a deep, it's wonderfully shot, it's wonderfully voice acted, and the story is so damn good that it's one of those animes that stick with you long after you've seen it. And it's not just a paper thin story, it's deeply philosophical. So I have to wonder if the creators of the Netflix Death Note even stopped to really see, to watch, to understand what Death Note is. I watched it this weekend, and this is the second time for the year that I've seen something that absolutely pissed me off as I watched it. Transformers The Last Night was the first movie that did that to me for this year. This one, while it's not Transformers bad, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I haven't seen the original Death Note in quite some time, so I'll give it that. But I do remember the philosophy of what Death Note stood for. Simply put, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And as human beings, if we have the ability to wield power without consequence, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna end up using it for bad purposes. Whether you start out doing it for good reasons, maybe you tell yourself you're being a hero, eventually you're gonna see that there's no consequence because nobody knows who you are, and you might end up doing some really shitty things. And that's what happens in Death Note in a nutshell. Power corrupts. Here we have a version of this. Now, I have no issue with it being an American adaptation. I have no issue with the characters being Americanized for a US or an international audience. That's not my problem. When something is well done, it's well done. Spielberg's The Departed is a very good example of that, because I love Infernal Affairs, but I also love The Departed. And they're two very good movies that happen to be an adaptation of, well, The Departed is an adaptation of Infernal Affairs. Here we have something that feels so paper thin. First of all, it's almost like I'm watching some kind of episode of Dawson's Creek or something. It's so angsty. First of all, we have the whole teenage angst aspect of this thing. Kira was always this character. Yes, he's a teenager, but there was a maturity to him because he's very smart. He's almost detached, because let's face it, he's a sociopath, right? But there is a maturity to that character that you don't find in this version at all. This guy is your typical teenager who's pining over a chick and will do anything to impress her. Okay, then I guess that's the Americanized version, right? But it made him seem so stupid in comparison to the original character. I have no issue with Light here because I think Steinfeld does a really good job with this character. Granted, he was a more emotional than the original Light was. You know, Light was always, again, very composed because he is like a mirror to Kira. But I think Steinfeld did well with the character. The lines he was given were atrocious at times, but the dialogue here is just, you know. But I don't want to get too heavily into it because that's not why I'm doing this. It's just, I just had to get this off my chest. If you're gonna adapt a film, have respect for the core material. That's all I'm asking. Don't borrow from this and borrow from that and say that you're, well, whatever, you're Americanizing it or whatever you say you're doing to it as an excuse for the crap that you're about to put out, right? At least respect the philosophy of the damn material. Give us that at least. because your characters did not seem smart, they did not seem purposeful, they just seem to be a bunch of kids that stumble onto this thing, and I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all. I hope they seem to set it up for a sequel. I really hope they stop and rethink and take a look at their mistakes, listen to what people are saying about this, and do it right the second time around. Just because it's gory, that doesn't mean it's going to impress us, right? And I'm sorry, but Yakira, maybe replace the actor, because it was just annoying, right? This Death Note for me gets a 4 out of 10. If I have to rate it, that's what I would give it. It is nowhere near as good as the original material. And again, let me make this clear. I didn't expect them to do a shot-by-shot reenactment, but the least you can do is actually study the material that you're copying before you adapt it. That's all I'm asking. So that's all I wanted to say on this, because I could talk about this all day and nobody wants to watch a 4-hour long video on why I hate the Netflix version of Death Note. So that's all I have to say. Maybe you guys enjoyed it more. Let me know your thoughts on it. And until next time, bye bye.